We're back here on Liquid Lunch. Natty, you like those commercials, eh, Nat?
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got Jason Hanley here. Jason, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And boy, you got a real. I read off the whole list of stuff at the beginning of the show. Software developer, world traveler, pilot, project management, guru, PHP expert. Oh yeah, efficiency nut. Right?
Well, I try to make it sound, more impressive than it might actually be. It's sort of I created that for Twitter, where you just have 140 characters. So I'm like, okay, how can I pack the most punch into like 140 characters?
Yeah. Okay.
Was the last one right? Efficiency nut?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. No, I'm all about efficiency, the most for the least.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. So what's your background? Sort of maybe sum up your life story in 30 seconds, how you got to be all of this.
Well, I started out with the whole computer science thing, one of those kids that was programming when I was 11. And yeah, I went to University of Waterloo, worked for Microsoft for a bit, went and worked at a big software company for a couple years, decided that wasn't really for me, started my own company. Yeah, and it kind of just all went from there. A lot of the stuff on that list is kind of more recent. So the project management, the pilot thing is very recent, just last year.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been flying for more than, how long have you been flying for?
Getting on towards a year now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started almost a year ago when I was actually living in New Zealand with my girlfriend. That's kind of the world traveler part.
Yeah, no, I hope you're taking the whole course, because it's kind of disturbing if you only take the first part of the course where you just learn to take off and steer, but don't bother learning to land, because that raises some eyebrows.
Landing is definitely the hardest part. You'd never think that, but it's about 10 times harder than every other part of it.
I would think it's
Really?
harder.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Now, I take it you're not flying jumbo jets.
Oh, no. No. I have my PPL, which is just a private license. So that lets you fly like single engine. The biggest you can fly is like a Cessna 4-seater kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's, do you have your own plane?
Oh, no. I rent.
Do you ever want to build your own plane?
You know what?
These little kit planes that they have?
Does it take too much time?
It does take a lot of time. I've heard it takes years a lot of times to complete them. And I'm not so sure about if that's really my thing. I'm more of a just kind of rent someone else's and kind of get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, devoting 3 years to building my own plane, not really my thing.
Okay. So what's your main thing right now? Is it really software development?
Software development has always been my core focus.
Yeah.
So my company, Syllogistic Software, we build custom apps, basically. So you say, there's an app for that. Well, that's what we make.
Okay. Okay. Now, you're a PHP guy, right?
Yeah, that's the technology that my company's been using sort of for the last 7 years or so.
So that's kind of on the open source side, right?
It is.
So you take your Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP kind of route?
Yeah, they call it LAMP.
LAMP, yeah. Which is, now Microsoft has a version. What is it, ASP? Is that like the Microsoft version of?
ASP.NET is sort of the equivalent to PHP.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm not really a big fan of ASP.NET.
Right, what I really want to do is kind of get because people are still debating, should I go the LAMP route with the open source type way, or should I go all Microsoft.NET ASP route? Can you kind of make a case for the PHP
I
side?
can make a huge case. Yeah, I even have a white paper on my company's website that compares the 3 technologies. It also includes Java, because that's another one people look at. But yeah, the biggest thing is that PHP kind of keeps up with the times. ASP has been through several different versions, and if you built a site in ASP, say 10 years ago, it would be junk. You just have to throw it out. Meanwhile, I built sites 10 years ago in PHP. They're still up and running. They still work great. So it's future-proof. It's more robust, in my opinion. Yeah, there's a slew of benefits that you get from going PHP and just open source in general.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a whole show. We could do a whole show, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever read that famous white paper or whatever, the what is it? The something versus the bazaar.
The Cathedral and the Bazaar.
Cathedral and the Bazaar, yeah.
Yeah, I read that like a long time
What
ago.
is it?
so-
Like for people who don't know what it is?
It's pretty seminal.
Yeah, it's arguing basically
Yeah.
sort of the cathedral, which is sort of the planning, central planning model.
Of software.
Okay,
design.
software, okay.
Yeah, of building anything really, but specifically to software. So the central planning, very strict, versus the bazaar, so like an open market or something like that, where people just come and sell things. And, I guess it's arguing that you can come up with something just as amazing when you have sort of all sorts of individuals just getting together and collaborating for their own good, as opposed to just that central planning authoritarian sort of thing.
Well, and the analogy is not just an analogy to the planned economy, or what they call now the command economy of Soviet style, which is a proven failure.
Sure.
Versus an open market, free market economy.
That's an excellent comparison.
Yeah. Boy, Jason, we don't have that much time, but we still have a little bit of time. But I'm just trying to condense things, so we get into all the different stuff here.
For sure.
What's the laptop for?
The laptop?
He's a computer guy.
Yeah, I'm a computer guy. I've got to get there's a couple notes that,
Okay.
if the topics came up.
Okay. Well, what do you have there?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
topics you got there?
Oh, well, I've got efficiency, for instance.
Yeah,
My whole,
that was on our list too.
the efficiency nut thing. Like one of the things that I pay attention to is like the 80-20 principle or the Pareto principle. And there's an author who wrote a lot about that, Tim Ferriss, in a book called The 4-Hour Work Week. And that's sort of a philosophy that I've followed for the last little while. And that's
So you only work 4 hours a week?
no, it's not literally 4 hours a week, but
that's false advertising.
yeah, I know. Yeah, he's kind of like that, but it gets your attention.
You got her attention.
Oh, only work 4 hours.
It's still false advertising, but anyways, okay.
No, but the key is you spend the least amount of time doing the things that
produce
add the
80%.
least value, right? Yeah, exactly.
So how does they even say that like with your diet too, like you can eat whatever you want 20% as long as 80% is vegetables, like it counteracts.
yeah.
But like, so I can see how that works for like nutrition wise, but how would it work in software world?
Oh, and in software, I would say it's even more important because it's so easy to get sidetracked by details that don't really matter. Like you might spend a week deciding, should this be a 12-point font or 13-point font, or what color should this be? And the traditional model is that, you have to decide all that up front, and you have to be 100% sure, commit it to stone, and then go ahead and do it, and you can't change it when you're done. Well, my whole thing is, no, you just design it in such a way that it's easy to change it later.
It's good enough.
That's the PHP.
Technology.
Exactly.
Because you need to have you need to incorporate the feedback from the real world.
Absolutely, that is key.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like the agile development methodology that I'm, again, a big supporter of. So, yeah, it all kind of ties together.
Hey, did you see that movie, The Social Network?
I did.
What did you think of that? Did that inspire you to do something, or what do you think?
I thought it was an entertaining Hollywood kind of movie. I don't know, with like, kind of based on a slight bit of truth.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of truth to it. And I could go on a lot about the problems I have with that movie, but it was entertaining.
But isn't it amazing, though, the story of something like Facebook? Because really, Facebook is just a website, isn't it? Or
a college
or
website.
Do you, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong or whatever, but it's really just a website.
To me, it's more than a website.
Okay.
I mean, that's like saying,
now it's more than a website, but when they first started, like, do you believe it's true, like, the reason why it just started, like, just to check out girls and rate people? Or you think that was just in it?
I believe that.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
You've always got to have a hook of some kind.
Yes.
But yeah, it evolved to something much more than that. And it's one of those kind of 1 in a million occurrences. I mean, you can't look at that and say, it doesn't inspire me to stop what I'm doing and create the next Facebook. There's always the next Facebook, the next Twitter. It's not going to be the next. It's going to be something totally different that you haven't even thought of yet. That's going to be another sort of 1 in a million chance.
And that's the whole thing too, is that you can. I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg planned necessarily to be a billionaire.
To take over the world? Probably not.
You
No.
know, he was just trying to, you know, get popular with the chicks, right? Or not that popular, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, he had his goals, and you know, he really stuck to them, and you have to give him credit for that. But you know, there's all sorts of things that had to come together simultaneously to make it into what it is today. And you know, could you ever replicate those circumstances exactly? No.
No, of course
So, so why invest your efforts in trying?
Now, Jason, I understand. In fact, we didn't mention this with Molly, but she's running a course on myfreeclass.com, and you're also doing one there. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're teaching on myfreeclass? Yeah.
Well, so far I just have an introductory sort of webinar, they call it. So it's just an introduction to something called HTML5. And that's another new technology that kind of combines with PHP. And what it lets you do is create apps or applications that can run on sort of multiple devices using the same technology. So it's very exciting. It's been around for a couple years.
So, for example, I'm trying to figure this out.
Sorry, I know my techno babble. You know, I go on pretty quick.
But does that mean, like, for example, that you could run a website or a web application that's going to be fine on a regular web page, or on a mobile device, or on
Precisely.
What else? What other kinds of devices, or would this be able to empower?
Tablet devices, like an
Okay.
iPad. So yeah, whether you have an Android phone, an iPhone, an iPad, you know, a netbook, your desktop computer, you can write one HTML5 app, and it'll run across all of those.
And
you
how
don't
does
have
it
to write
incorporate?
separate.
How does it incorporate PHP?
That's good.
PHP comes in
Yeah.
through the back end. So the HTML5 part is the part that you kind of see and interact with. Meanwhile, you can use the PHP sort of in the cloud. I'm not sure if you've heard the term cloud computing.
Yeah.
In any case, PHP is in the cloud and lets you synchronize your data sort of to the internet, and then from one device to another.
Okay.
What's an example of something that you would do? Like when you say app, like do you mean like what would you create that you need to have on like your phone, your computer? Like would it be a journal or like a workout routine? Like what? Like those kind of things?
Yeah, those are great examples.
Okay.
I mean, one that I have right here is just my little note-taking app that I recently wrote in HTML5. And again, this will run on any application, any computer, and it even runs offline. So for instance, I don't have an internet connection on my notebook right now, but I can still run this internet app.
That's good that you can run. So how come you can run that without the internet, but on the phones you need to have the internet to run the apps?
That's HTML5.
Oh, okay.
HTML5 has a thing called offline mode that basically lets you run the application almost the same as if you were connected to the internet, even when you don't have internet. And then next time you connect, it does all of its synchronization.
So why do they even have iPhone and BlackBerry apps? I'd rather much have that.
Again, it's a new technology.
Okay.
There's still, you know, a couple quirks, and it's not easy to develop. All the tools and everything aren't quite there yet, so it takes a bit of expertise, and not a lot of people have that expertise yet. So.
Boy, you know, we're almost out of time here, Jason. So we're gonna have to get you back because
I'd love to come
about
back.
this all the time. I just got a quick question though.
Yes.
Because somebody told me that, like for example, with people watching us right now on the internet, it's a Flash. We use Flash technology, okay?
You bet.
Flash on the, which is not available on iPhones.
No, it's not.
Not yet. Anyway, because Mac, they, you know,
They're
gotta do it
anti-Adobe,
their
I
own
think.
way.
Yeah.
I've watched the show, like I've watched like Sandra's show, I tried to watch it on my phone, and I could watch it, but it like never a full episode, it like cuts.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Okay,
That's a
anyway.
separate issue. But I heard that maybe HTML5 could solve this problem.
Yes.
Because what we want is universal
We both keep
access.
cutting them off.
We want universal access. We want to be available on all platforms, all operating systems, all browsers.
HTML5 can definitely do that.
Okay.
Creating that is a bit complicated. It's not as easy as just doing Flash.
Yeah.
But once you do it, for instance, YouTube has already done all of their video in HTML5. such that it works on all platforms.
Okay.
So yes.
All right. Okay, great. Well, you know, we've only scratched the surface here, Jason, but, you know, people out there, obviously, if they want a good software guy, I'm convinced.
Well, thanks.
That's the first time I've ever heard him say that.
Really? Okay. Anyways, I am totally convinced. How can people get in touch with you?
You know, probably the easiest way is just to go to my personal website first, jasonhanley.com, or just, you know, even Google my name. And from there, you can get to my company website. You can see the HTML5 app that I've worked on. You can get all that information from there.
Okay, great. And also, you're teaching a class on HTML5 at freeclass.com. We better pump that, right?
Yes, and also I should mention I have the HTML5 meetup, which is every second Tuesday night usually, except this month is next week. Yeah, so if you just search like HTML5 Meetup Toronto, you'll find that as well.
Okay, all right. Jason, great to have this conversation. I look forward to the next one.
You bet, sounds
I wish
great.
you all the best. Great to meet you, and thanks for coming in today.
Thanks very much, Hugh.